Hi guys! So today's video is for all of my mothers out there. It is Mother's Day tomorrow, and for my mom, I am going to make her a cake. Now, it's not just any cake. I'm being very creative. I'm going to do a 3-layered, multicolored cake, and I'm going to do this all in my RV convection oven. Here are all of the ingredients that I'm going to use today. So I have, since it's going to be 3 layers, I have 2 boxes of just white cake mix. And for the ingredients for the cake mix, you need water, vegetable oil, and eggs. I also have a little bit of flour because you need to grease the pans and then put a little bit of flour. And I have 3 pans. Usually you can do this with any size pan, but these are 8.5s. I just bought them at the grocery store. Easy to use. And then I also have my bowls for mixing and a few other bowls since I'm going to be doing a few different colors. And then I also have my red coloring mix because I want to do a red layer, a pink layer, and then a light pink layer. And icing. So first I'm going to preheat the oven. Now, this cake is at 350 degrees. I always bump up the temperature just by a little bit. So I'm gonna preheat it to 375. And since I'm doing different layers, I'm gonna put 2 racks in here. I'm gonna put my short rack and then my medium-sized rack. Now I'm going to grease my cake pans. And the way that I do this is I just put a little bit of vegetable oil on each one. And then I use a paper towel and I just grease the entire bottom. And then you have to put a little bit of flour. That helps it not to stick as well. Now, of course I'm going to list all the ingredients. So in case you kind of miss them, you're like, what is she doing again? I'll make sure to put the entire recipe and all the ingredients in the article. So make sure to check that out. Alright, now I'm going to start making the cake. So just... Oh! Here's my helper. Can you say Happy Mother's Day to everyone?
Very cranky. I'm gonna get some coffee. Saki's gonna go back to bed.
Alright, so I have 2 bags here. Nothing too fancy. Obviously, if you wanna, get really into it, you can make your own cake from scratch, but I'm a little pressed on time and I'm not that fabulous of a cake maker, so we're gonna use the box mix. Alright, so there's 2 bags of that. Then we're going to do, so it's a cup of water for each box, so we're going to do 2 cups of water. That's 2. 1/4 a cup of vegetable oil, so then we're going to do, and then we're going to need 6 eggs, and then we got to mix it all together. So I always actually crack my eggs into a smaller bowl before I put them in the batter, and the perfect example is because I got some shell in there. So now I gotta figure out how I'm gonna get that shell out. Usually they say you can use the egg, other part of the eggshell, because it'll stick to it. Alright. Got it. This may take a while. I'm gonna come back. So now I have all my cake batter mixed, and what I did was I separated it out into 3 bowls because I want it to be different colors. Now I made one mistake. You're only supposed to add egg whites so your batter stays white. I added the whole egg, so as you can tell it has a little bit of a yellowy tint. So I was planning on making my colors red, pink, and like a lighter pink. I'm still gonna try and do it. so you guys know if you want to do it on your own, but it may turn out more orangey than pink, so sorry, Mom. But let's see how it goes. I've gotten the batters to the color where I want them to be. Dark red, pink, light pink. So just a few things to kind of keep in mind when you're doing a multicolored cake. Obviously, if you're doing all the same color, this doesn't matter, but you want to make sure to use whatever spoon you're using to scoop everything out and not transfer the same spoon over so you're mixing the colors. So make sure you wash your spatula if you're using a spatula each time before you move on to a different color. So now that I have them all at the color that I want in the pans, all the same amount of batter in each one, I'm gonna go ahead and stick them in the oven. So since I only have 2 racks, I'm going to bake 2 at the same time, and then I'm gonna have to bake 1 on its own. These bake for about 25 to 28 minutes. Since this is my first time making multiple cakes and doing it on 2 layers, I'm gonna monitor and I'll let you guys know how long it does actually take. But I'm gonna stick with probably like 25 minutes to start and then check on it and go from there. Okay, 2 pies are in. It's been like 22 minutes and it's starting to smell really good inside the RV. I just want to check on the cakes, maybe switch racks, but they're looking like they're pretty much done, so I just want to make sure they are. They're not quite done yet, and I didn't want to move them since they're baking so nicely, so we're gonna let them cook for another 5 minutes. Okay, so my timer went off and I took out my red cake, which was the one that was on the bottom, and yeah, it turned out very nicely. Stuck the toothpick in and it came out clean, so very nice, huh? So I'm gonna let this one cool. I moved the other cake now, my 3rd layer, into the oven, and I moved it up to the top rack, and then I set the timer for another 25 minutes. Yeah, layer 3. So now I am going to wait for them to cool. You have to let all of the layers cool completely before frosting them. A cool trick is putting them into the freezer for like 15 to 30 minutes. They won't freeze, it'll just make them nice and hard. That way when you go to frost them, it will make it easier for you to put on the frosting. All right, here they are. And yeah, they're nice and cold. So now what I want to do is I want to make sure they're all the same size because I want to stack them on top of each other. How I'm going to do that is put them all next to each other. Let me get my big bread cutting knife here, and I'm just going to cut the tops, make them nice and flat here. Look at that, you can see the nice colors. Alright, now I'm actually gonna stack these on top of each other to do the sides. Now be careful because you want to make sure you're keeping the sides even still. Now that our workstation's all cleaned up, we are going to start the frosting process. Now, I have 2 cans here of this Pillsbury Creamy Supreme Classic White. You can obviously make your own frosting if you want, but I decided to buy some. This is also the same thing. So, a few tricks. Get a nice kind of chunk and stick it onto the bottom of your plate. This will help your cake from moving around. So I'm going to do it from the darkest to the lightest. So I'm going to start with my red color here. Try and get as many crumbs. Okay. Now we have the first coat on. It's looking even, it's looking good. Actually, I'm gonna put this back into the freezer for another 15 to 30 minutes to really, probably 30 minutes, the longer better, to really harden up. I'm gonna put another white coating on top so it looks fresh and white, and then I'm gonna make my designs. The cake has been in the freezer for about 30 minutes, so as you can see, it's nice and hard, which is good for decorating purposes. So now I'm just gonna do a nice white layer around the entire cake, and then I'm going to decorate it. So now, like this, I'm gonna do a design. I'm gonna write Happy Mother's Day on the top and maybe do some decorations around the sides. So, wish me luck. So, yeah, it was, I had a few hiccups, but in all, it was not too bad. So, Happy Mother's Day. Love you, Mom. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
You can also subscribe to the blog directly on LivinLite.net, and you'll receive email updates of all of our posts.